In this video, we're going to take a look at the ECOVACS GOAT A2500. So if you guys are like me and you're really busy, just don't have time to cut your grass, or maybe you're older and cutting your grass is just too much of a task, this is going to be a good video for you because this is going to be a robot mower by ECOVACS. All right, so we got everything out of the box. So you got your docking station right here. You're going to get some hardware. You got your RTK. Got some more stakes here just to clean up the wiring. And then the cool thing is they actually give you some extra blades for the mower. Now setup should be pretty easy, but let's take a closer look at the GOAT A2500. So as you guys can see, pretty decent size, good build quality on this. In the front here we have some cameras, and that's going to be for obstacle avoidance, mapping. The cool thing about this is, if you guys know anything about these robot mowers, is a lot of the older styles, they use a wire that you put around the perimeter. This is going to use a technology called RTK for navigation, which is going to make it way easier for the setup. This has a built-in 32-volt system, so lots of power with this, and this is going to be good for up to 5/8 of an acre. Go ahead and take a look at the bottom. As you guys can see, you got two blades and they're offset, and this is going to provide you 33 centimeters of cutting width. There's a look at the wheels on the back, and this is where the power is going to come from. And this is good for a 27-degree slope. So if you got any uneven surfaces or something that's on an incline, this should work just fine. The waterproof rating on this is IPX6, so you can rinse this off with a hose. Also keep it out in the rain. Shouldn't affect it at all. And one of the built-in smart features for this is, if this is cutting your grass and it starts raining, it's going to sense that, and it's actually going to go back to the docking station and start charging. So we're going to go ahead and set this up. Here's a look at the backyard. Pretty decent sized backyard. Got the table in the middle. This does have obstacle avoidance, so it should be able to detect anything in its way and go around it. But I think we're going to go over here, and this is where we're going to set up the docking station. Have an outlet on the garage there. I think that'd be a perfect spot. So let's go ahead and start setting this up. So to install the docking station, they do have holes all through here. But as you guys can see, I do have a patio brick right there. So I'm just going to try to mount this in these two holes right here, see if that works. So like I said earlier, this does not use any barrier wires, which makes this really easy to set up. They say that you don't want to put this too close to the house, and you don't want to put this under trees. You want it to have a clear view of the sky. So I think I'm going to go ahead and just mount it right here. I think this will be perfect. There is the station there. So I'm going to put this in the ground. And we got about 6 feet from the garage there. So I think this should work well. And then what you want to do is you want to take this wire and then run it to the docking station. It also provides you with these clips to tidy up the wiring. So I ran those down to the bottom, and then I give you some more anchors for the ground. So I'm going to run this wiring all the way around these bricks over to the docking station. All right, so I went ahead and anchored down the wire. And as you guys can see, that provides you with a long length of wire. Right now, I'm just going to go ahead and leave that behind there, tidy that up in a little bit. And then like I said, there's the plug. We're just going to plug it right into the side there. All right, so once you got everything installed, what you're going to want to do is download the app. It's the ECOVACS home app, and then you're going to scan that QR code to add this to the app. Once you do that, it's going to ask you for a pin. So you're going to plug in the pin right on the top. So I'm going to go ahead and do that now. It's a 4-digit pin. So after you do that, then it's going to set up the network to your Wi-Fi to connect everything. After that, it's going to search for satellites, and it'll go through a bunch of prompts saying that it connected to satellites. All right, so we're going to go ahead and start mapping. Pretty excited about this one to see how well this is going to work. So this is what it looks like on the app. You're going to use this joystick down here to do the mapping. Alright, so I sped up this part of the video just not to bore you guys. All I'm doing is following the ECOVAC, and I'm using the app on my phone as a remote control. All you need to do is follow the perimeter of your yard. That's all it requires, all the way back to the home station. And then from there, it's going to use that as its barrier, and then use the cameras and all the built-in technology to auto map the rest of your yard. Now you're going to want to do this all around the perimeter of your property, all the way back to the station. Alright, so we just finished up with the mapping, and we'll hit end. So it's saying congratulations, mapping completed. So now we're going to go ahead and go to mowing, and we'll see how well this works. So that's what the map looks like, and we'll go ahead and hit start. Alright, so you guys can see this grass is actually pretty long. But it's having no issues cutting it. And I don't know if you guys can tell, but this thing is super quiet. You can barely hear it cutting. So as you guys can see, it went all the way past the edge. Even though that was my perimeter, it went past that edge to be able to get that cut, which is pretty nice. It does have obstacle avoidance, like I said earlier, so it detected that flower pot there and actually turned the opposite way. So this does have two cutting modes. One is delicate, and that's going to cut about 1.3 foot per second. And then you can do a quick cut, and that's going to give you about 2.3 feet per second. Also, it does about 400 square meters per hour. Has adjustable height from 1.2 inches to 3.5, and you can adjust that right in the app, which is pretty nice. So instead of cutting it this low, I could have raised it a little bit, but I actually wanted to see how strong the motor was, to see if it actually would have a problem cutting through this tall grass. Got some leaves over there, and it does say to clean up like debris and leaves, but I just want to see how well it would go through that. No issues. You also can change the way that the lines are done in the grass in the app. And it does advise, if your grass is longer than 4 inches, to actually cut it before you use this. And as you guys can see, the lawn is a little bumpy, but with those tires and the 36 volt power it has, it's not having any issues navigating through the lawn. So like I said earlier, this does have built-in cameras. It's got Lidar and 3D technology, AI technology, for its optical avoidance and for mapping, which seems to be doing a pretty good job. So it just approached the table there, and by using its optical avoidance, it stopped, turned around, and now it's going back. You can also monitor this from the app. So as you guys see, shows what's been cut and what still needs to be cut. Shows the battery percentage, so 54%, 53% mode, and then you can actually end it or pause it if you want. Send it back to the station. Another way to stop this from mowing, right on the top here, big red button says stop on there. Just tap that and it'll stop mowing. Also, if this gets lifted off the ground for whatever reason, somebody goes to pick it up or anything, this will also stop mowing when it senses that. And if you do find that this missed anything in the mapping, you can go back over it and modify the mapping at any time. You also can schedule mowings in the app. This is also Google and Alexa compatible. So if you got Alexa devices, you can hook this up to your Alexa device from inside your house and just tell it to start mowing. Schedule it through the app, certain time of the day, or certain days of the week. This is good for about 5/8 acre of a yard. So if you do have something a little bit bigger, battery starts dying on this, this is going to automatically go right back to the charging station. I think the charging time is about 45 minutes, and then it's just going to go right back to where it left off. So pretty much maintenance free. You don't really need to sit out here and watch it. You can just let this go. Like I said, schedule a time, and it's just going to cut your lawn while you can be doing something better with your time. Now this does have true edge technology, and with the dual blades it should get pretty close to the edges, but just like any robot mower, you will have to probably maybe grab the weed whacker and trim up right close to your fences. So you still will have to do some maintenance, but this is going to do pretty much 99% of the grass cutting. So overall, I was really impressed at how well this ECOVACS worked. Really easy to set up, and it did a really good job cutting the lawn. Alright, so just finished up cutting the whole lawn. This is its first trip back to the docking station. We're going to see how well this works.
Start charging. Work completed.
Alright, so it's back at the charging station, and that is what the lawn looks like. So overall, not bad. I did notice over here it did not catch this. Other than that, I think it did a pretty good job. Got really close to the fence over here, which is pretty impressive. Was able to maneuver in this little tight area here. Also detected the patio, and what I like about it is I actually kind of drove up on the patio a little bit and got a decent amount of grass around the patio before it turned around. Pretty impressed with it. Definitely going to save you a lot of time, or like for my mom's case, it's going to save her a lot of back-breaking work. Alright guys, so there you go, the ECOVACS GOAT A2500 RTK. Super simple to install, built-in app. Like I said, it works with Google and Alexa. Worked pretty well. I was actually really surprised at how well it worked. Mapping was super easy, and it did a really good job on the lawn. Definitely going to save a lot of time, a lot of energy. Let me know what you guys think in the comment section below. I'll make sure I put some links in the description box below. They got a couple different models depending on how big your lawn is. So I'll make sure I link those. Hopefully you found the video useful. If you did, smash that like button. If you guys like what I'm doing on my channel, make sure you subscribe. Comment down below. Let me know what you guys think. Until the next one, guys, I will talk to you later.